All right, everyone. I'm sitting here with Thomas Alsbirk, the master behind the Yes Kite, amongst other products. And this is the very first episode of the Yes Talk, a brand new platform where we're gonna go into the depth of some of the products and the history behind the brand and a lot of other things. But I just wanna take the opportunity to start introducing our famous kite designer, who has been a bit of a mystery since day one. But you know, it's out in the open now. It is Thomas Alsbirk. We've been friends for 20 some years, 22, 23 years. The very first time I met him was, I think it was at a small island in Denmark where we partied a bit and we kited, and his friends were some of the top riders in Denmark, and I just came back from Cape Town. I just picked up kiting and was looking at these guys doing flat threes and handle passes, and very inspired by this. And that's where it all began, pretty much. We've been friends ever since, and Thomas has helped me with the Dubai jump. He did a lot of the safety, the pre-procedure in order for me to jump safely from the building. And he did some models on the wind, how it hits the building, how it wraps around and stuff like this, because he's a wind wizard. And he's been helping co-designing for some other brands, and he's got a great knowledge in kite designing.
We have some coda experience together, like you won it in 2017 and I supported you in 2020, and I think you had the second place.
I was second up against Jesse.
Yeah.
He won, I became second. I wouldn't say it was only because you were my caddy. Partly, maybe.
Yeah.
We had a fun little incident on the beach.
Yeah.
Changing kites, and one leash was hooked on to one kite, and we kind of forgot about the leash and the audience and the beach.
When the heat is on. But on the other hand, we saved the situation and we saved the date. But hopefully that was not why you didn't beat Jesse. I think maybe Jesse won, like just because
I would never be able to beat him.
No.
I've been kiting for 22, 23, 25 years or something. For the majority of time in my life, I've been kiting. And I've been representing a whole palette of different brands and kites. But I've never really had the kite that did it all for me. I'm sure it's out there in the market, but for me at least, I was always very slightly restricted within the kite that I was riding or promoting. So that's why, you know, I called Thomas up, and we had a chat about how can we make a kite that's good for everything, which is pretty difficult. So I think we sort of came to a compromise that what I wanted in a kite, what you wanted in a kite, because we do have very different styles. Although we do always come together at a bigger session, but you have your wave and your freestyle background, and I'm more into free riding and, you know, big jumps, big air kiteboarding. So trying to combine all these different disciplines into one kite is a pretty big task. And I thought, you know, with my knowledge in big air and free ride, and Thomas's knowledge in wave and foiling as well, foiling and freestyle, we could potentially, you know, come to some sort of a compromise and make and take all these aspects of all these different disciplines and put it down a big blender and then see what comes out of it. I guess that was my take. And then we started building a few prototypes, and we went into...
And we started from scratch, so to speak.
We started completely from scratch.
So when we started, we tried a lot of different things. We tapped into a lot of different materials, new exotic materials and untested materials, but we always reverted back to that very, you know, kind of simple, proven design, but with a lot of new tech in it. So yeah, I think the Yes Kite looks like a kind of like normal basic kite, but there's a lot of tech into it, with a lot of attention to details of how the profile distribution is to make sure that it turns right, how the tips are reacting to input, and how the profile distribution is throughout the canopy, so that it's very stable and easy to use. So I think it's a combination of your experience as a professional kiteboarder and my experience and knowledge in CFD, mechanical engineering and fluid dynamics and metrology combined that like made us go into this direction.
Yeah.
So we had a path with it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think when I say compromise, it's more if you want to make a dedicated big air kite, there are certain aspects you need to understand to implement that in a kite, and that's something that we didn't want it to go full on with yet. But we would rather want the kite to do all these different disciplines at once. And I think that's pretty proven throughout the content that we've and the feedback that we're getting from people on the beach, different places all around the world.
So we managed to make a kite that first of all is fun to ride with, and it's for everyone. Everyone can use this kite. We have a lot of schools teaching on this kite, and it's very important for us that it's something you can buy as a beginner and you can grow with, and you're not limited to targeting big air or some specific discipline. It's really a kite that you can use for everything. And it's actually the first kite I ever had myself where I can use one kite for everything I want to do.
Yeah.
That could be strapless riding in big waves, onshore conditions. It can be making like nice kite loops and also unhooking and doing like freestyle tricks and foiling in light wind. That's the first time I don't need like different series. I come from a sea kite background. I always had that for doing wake style tricks. I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
It's enough for me to just have a range of yes kites, and I can do everything I want in kiteboarding. That's like the beauty of kiteboarding, is that you can do so many different things in one sport. And now I think with the yes kite we managed to make a kite where you can do everything with one kite. So the reason that we went for a 3-strut kite design for the first Jacobsen kite, the yes kite, is really that the 3-strut is the most versatile type of kite, because you can make a very light, easy to use and beginner friendly kite that doesn't fall from the sky when you have it at 12 o'clock and for the first time is trying to get your foot into the strap to get your first successful 50 meters to one side. And it's also at like where you can have the kite turn the fastest and be more responsive. At the same time, you can also crank a lot of performance into a 3-strut design. So I think that was what we really wanted to do, was to try to narrow down how we could get this feeling of a kite that can do pretty much everything while still being intuitive and fun to ride.
For low wind, what was your take to actually, how would you describe your thought process on that?
Well, to me it was extremely important to design a kite that had the right bridle, the right profile, and the right depth of the profile, and like the right pull, to make sure you could get enough out of it in light wind without it ever being prone to backstalling and doing all these misbehaviors that you often see in kites. So again, you just want to go out and have fun on a foil in like 6 to 8 knots, and it's possible on this kite. But at the same time, you don't want to compromise the ability of going in like really, really high wind. So I think this kite is actually quite good at being really overpowered. Yeah. And the way we've been configuring the bridle with that single pulley on the tip and like the bridle distribution, it's a quite narrow and short bridle. It feels kind of locked compared to other bridles that are a lot longer. I think we really managed to make a bridle that will give you the ability to edge up and have the kite fly far out into the wind window when you're overpowered. Yeah. At the same time, where it's easy and forgiving when in light wind. So again, it's this compromise and a lot of hours on the water, a lot of thought process, and a lot of trial and error testing that made us get this kite that has this very, very wide range of like wind speeds where it can be used. So you can use the same kite in a lot of different wind speeds and conditions.
We want to bring the fun back into kiteboarding. Over the past few years, it's been very focused on materials and wingtips and stuff like this, but I think we kept coming back to the Dacron, and Dacron has been around for, forever, and it just works, it works, and I think with your design, it does bring the fun back, hence the name, yes. It's positive, we just want to get out there, that's it. We want to have a good time, have a playful time, and say yes, pretty much.
And when you think of it, most kiteboarders have maybe a day or two throughout a month where they can go ride in the weekend, and they just want to go out and have fun. They want to make the most of the time that they have available. They've spent a lot of investment in buying a kite and taking the time to go to the beach. So what we want to give them is when they go to the beach, they rig up the kite, it's easy to use, and they immediately have fun when they go out on the water. I think that's very important. And when we make a kite that's fun for like the average Joe in the weekend, while at the same time has embedded the performance that you can use and anyone can pretty much do everything on, that's really what we wanted to do with this kite design, right? We wanted to make a kite that's for everyone, but can embrace all aspects of the sport.
And I think a very good example was, obviously we are extremely happy with the outcome of the kite, but it's always nice to get some sort of a stamp or benchmark from someone else. And that's when I went to Cape Town a few months ago and we had a photo shoot with Jet. That's when I realized for the first time, okay, this is a wild kite, because everything that we want to do, we have that covered. And it's not like we're sending big kite loops where we look down on the kite like Jet does, but as soon as he did that, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good.
That was a quality stamp to the kite design, that Jet immediately could go out on 13-meter lines. Just didn't change anything on the kite.
Nothing.
He could do
and
these
he was
extremely
stoked on
insane short line loops. So that was like, as a kite designer, I also got proud, because that's one of the things I don't dare to test. I have an ACL already fixed on my right knee from a kite loop like 20 years ago.
And some age working against you.
We're not talking age now, right? But I can't go and test the kite on short lines as Jet can. But when you can see what Jet's able to do on the kite, as a kite designer, that just made me proud and happy. Because that also proved that the kite does everything. Like it's catchy, it flies back up, I mean, it's reliable. So all those things that we've been tuning on, like cranking the profile to make sure we get that second lift without the kite being prone to backstalling when you do a loop. So that's a very fine balance of trimming the profile throughout the full arc of the kite. Like what's the profile on the tips and in the middle, and how's the angle of attack, and how's the arc? All these little tiny details that we put into the kite to make a normal kite loop when you ride 20 or 22 meter or 25 meter lines. All that is actually something we've been spending a lot of time into tuning and refining, and that was why Jet could just immediately go out and throw those insane short line loops on this 3-strut design. So that's
pretty amazing.
That made me happy as a kite designer.
And talking about the stamp that we got from Jet doing the super loop and stuff, I think another guy, Duco, one of our Dutch ambassadors, he pulled a double loop when I was in Cape Town. And again, that was one of those moments where a bit of an eye-opener, I would say, because we didn't design a kite to do double loops. All of a sudden, this young kid from Holland takes off on a wave. I was right there at High Five in Cape Town, and he just goes, double loops, lands. He did it again and again. He did a dirty loop, he did a double dirty loop, and he just did everything that we never thought about implementing performance-wise into this kite.
But that reminds me that you still owe us a double loop, right? And Adrian and Ben.
I actually do. Yeah.
I think you still owe a double loop. So we'll get back to that later.
We'll get back to that. To be continued. Well, now you might wonder where you can try this kite. Now we talked about how extremely good it is, and we will be doing a lot of demos around Europe this coming summer. We're looking into doing a big demo tour throughout Europe. We'll keep you posted. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our newsletter, and all the info will be fed to you guys.